Hello my fellow crafters, and in honor of Halloween just around the corner, although if you look in any craft store it's here, I have a lovely little scary story for you to go along with this scary but actually pretty practical project I have made up for you. Take a look. Any questions? Ask below. Thank you, as always, for watching. This is where I should throw in like the mwahahahaha. No, I won't do that, but enjoy!
As our brave heroes entered the darkened hall, the smell of iron filled their nostrils. The lone torch flickered in the distance, casting the rest of the room in eerie, dancing shadows. A monotonous drip and the sound of their breaths echoed through the room. Our quick-thinking wizard cast light upon the hall, and as their eyes adjusted to the new brightness, their eyes fell upon the body, the lord of the manor, dead in his own pool of blood.
To get started with this project, you're going to want some white glue, some warm water, a skewer for stirring, then you're going to need a medicine dropper. I got mine at my local pharmacy. You can even just ask them for them and they'll give them to you at your pharmacy counter. And then for painting it on, obviously, paintbrush. I like to use a more flat style paintbrush for this. And the secret ingredient here is beetroot powder. It is something you can find on Amazon. I will include the link in the descriptions below. And last but not least, you're going to want to get wax paper. Make sure it is wax paper. It has that lovely waxy sheen. Do not use parchment, saran wrap, or any other type of sealing paper that you find in your kitchen. It has to be wax paper. To get started, you're going to take that medicine dropper, and I do about a half teaspoon at a time, adding water into what is a teaspoon's worth of beetroot powder. So you're going to add in the water, and then you're going to want to start mixing it up. And as soon as the water hits this powder, it turns quickly into a paste. This is why you want to start adding carefully. So take the skewer, stir it around, and as you can see, it starts coagulating against itself. And that right there is entirely way too thick. So I need to add another half teaspoon worth of water just to get that to thin out a little bit and not be as thick of a paste as you see right there in the bowl. And it's a lot easier to add as you go than to try and pull away. Otherwise you're going to end up with a huge batch of this. So mix it nice and thoroughly, mix out as many of the lumps as possible. Give it a good stir. And then your next step to get it from going to that is to add the white glue. And in this case, you're going to add a good teaspoon worth, if not a teaspoon and a half, and mix it thoroughly. Sped this up for you so you don't have to watch my thoroughly stirring. But the goal is to get the glue and the beetroot powder mixture to blend together nicely so it's smooth and even in consistency and color. So again, more stirring, keep stirring. There's no such thing as stirring too much. Once you're ready, you take your paintbrush and the wax paper and you start blotting this onto the wax paper. You don't want to spread it because if you spread it, it gets a little bit too thin. So blot it into the random shape that you want. I kind of made it look more like trails of blood and then puddles of blood. Use your imagination with it. But the most important thing is that you want to make sure you give this plenty of time to dry. Because if it doesn't get enough time to dry, it's not going to look right. To make the guts part of this little craft, you're going to need Aquaphor and a flat bottom dish. I used one of my old Corel dishes, but you take the Aquaphor and you spread it around, and then you're going to take your high temperature glue gun and you're going to actually be using it over the plate with the coating of Aquaphor on it. The trick is to make sure you hold your glue gun up high as you start making these shapes. So taking your glue gun, hold it up higher, and what I did is sort of start a blob and then sort of move it around to sort of create an intestinal, organy, basically gross shapes, really is how it worked. So go around and just add really whatever shapes you want to, and you're going to be surprised how quickly this is going to cool, first of all because of the dish being upside down, and how easily all of this is going to remove now thanks to the Aquaphor trick. If you don't have Aquaphor, you could use something like Vaseline. I just have Aquaphor on hand simply because it's what we have in the house. So you want to make sure these cool, and once they are completely cool, all you have to do is lift up and it pulls away. It is simply that easy. You just lift and up it goes, and it's because of that Aquaphor layer. But because you have that Aquaphor there, what you're going to want to do is put these into a bowl of warm water with a good amount of Dawn dish detergent in there because it helps break up the grease. I actually soak it probably for about 5 minutes to clean it. Once they're all dry, you can take them out, and I just pull off the little pieces, and then I start painting with the beetroot and glue mix. And this is up to you. You can add a couple layers of the paint. You just want to make sure it dries in between the 2 layers, or you can do the 1 layer of paint. It depends on how deep of a red you want this to get, or how translucent you want things to look. So I did some with 2 layers, I did some with only 1 layer. It's still a gross, creepy effect, and it definitely looks like something that came out of someone or something that has recently been slain. Once everything's dry, you can start to handle it. So here I'm showing you the different pieces I have of the blood trails, as well as the body parts and guts that I covered with the beetroot powder and glue. So to get the blood petals off the wax paper, just take your fingernail and lift off a small section and carefully peel it back, nice and slowly, and it should just lift off the wax paper like that. And again, I'm on a larger layer doing the same thing. Lift up with the fingernail, pull it off, and there you go. You get your puddle of blood that way. So it's actually a pretty cool and effective way to make these, and you can move them around and put them on different pieces. Also, you can use the technique to make some webbing using that plate with the Aquaphor on it. So you take your hot glue gun, drizzle it around, all around, and just make a web-like effect. If you want to be more technical and make it look like a spider web, go for it. I just had fun and drizzled it all over the place. Let it cool completely. When it's cool to the touch, once again, it'll be ready to lift off with surprising ease. You just have to be a little bit more careful because you do have the finer threads of the glue. But you'll lift it off the plate, and once it's lifted off the plate, ta-da, you have webbing. And it's actually pretty flexible too, which I thought was great. But again, make sure you wash it. Dunk it into that bowl and give it a good wash. For the puddles of slime, I made blobs again with the plate and the hot glue. Once they cool, peel them off, and I just took a really bright yellow and a really bright lime green color, kind of mixed the 2 together, and I started painting over what would be my blobs of slime. If you've seen some other videos, you see I'll like pull the 2 colors together. I tried to do that, but because of the hot glue, it doesn't really show up as well. So in this case, I just say go for it and blend whatever color it is you really want it to have. So I went through and I painted all of those pieces, mixing together the lime green and the yellow, and just having some fun with it, just seeing what the colors would do. And again, you could do really whatever colors you wanted to do with this. It was just the ease of being able to peel those blobs of hot glue off the plate where I started thinking about what else I could do that would be fun to have as, modular accents to your terrain pieces. So I let that layer dry, and then I actually went back with a darker green, and I did some Elmer's glue again. Mixed it together because I wanted to have this more of a shiny gloss to it. Being slime, it has to be a liquid with a little bit of a glint. And I took that and I painted it over the now dried blobs of slime that had the lime green and the yellow on them. This kind of gave it a little bit more visual interest. The camera didn't pick it up as well. I think it's just because of the way the lighting is, but just go through and paint it, make it look creepy, make it look slimy, and it's pretty darn effective that way. And there you have it, the webbing and the slime all ready to go for your next adventure. So much for watching.
I should move the camera around. And it's like, Blair Witch Project.